Hello everybody, welcome to BT Sports Vanarama National League Highlights programme. Another half an hour in which we'll bring you all the action from the latest round of fixtures. This weekend we've been at Blundell Park for Grimsby Town against Tranmere Rovers, two grand old names from the Football League who are desperate to get back there.
He has plenty of time to steady himself again. Free header. And what a stop from McKeown to deny Jackson.
Much more of that coming up shortly, and plenty more too. A 7-goal thrashing leaves managerless Torquay in free fall. 2 defeats in a week for league leaders Forest Green. And Wellington the form book upside down at Gateshead. We start at Plainmoor, but if you're a Torquay fan, you may want to avert your eyes. The omens for this one weren't good, following manager Paul Cock's shock resignation on Friday after only 3 months in charge. Director of football Dean Edwards and assistant manager John Ramshaw took on the managerial duties. Things began well enough for Torquay with James Hurst's 6th-minute goal, giving the caretaker bosses a welcome early lead. But the feel-good factor didn't last long. Within 2 minutes, Bromley's leading goalscorer, Moses Emmanuel, was allowed too much time and space on the left before curling a beauty past Dan Leverkusen. 5 minutes later, the visitors were ahead. Emmanuel again on the scoresheet after an acrobatic effort from Ben May. Emmanuel was hungry for more and he piled on the misery for Torquay fans by capitalising on some comical defending to complete a 22-minute hat-trick. He now leads the league's scoring charts on 9 for the season. Torquay did reduce the arrears before half-time when Tyrone Marsh hit the net from close range to open his account for the club. But any words of wisdom at the break clearly fell on deaf ears as Bromley added a fourth 15 minutes after the restart. Jack Holland scoring after a cross from Anthony Cook. Leverkusen was left rooted to his line when Louis Dennis fired in this neat free kick from the edge of the box for his 2nd of the season. Torquay, it seemed, were resigned to a heavy defeat, and after Bayan Fenwick fouled Anthony Cook in the box, you sensed it was a day the home side already wanted to forget. Cook picked himself up to add to his first from the penalty spot. No National League team had scored 7 away from home since Newport at Gateshead in April 2011, but Bromley matched that feat when Ali Fazeni blasted home. It was the first time Torquay had conceded 7 since their 8-1 home defeat by Scunthorpe in 1995, and Marsh's late goal was barely a consolation at the end of a miserable few days for the club. But Mark Goldberg's Bromley in their first season at non-league football's highest level are up to 9th and join Grimsby as the division's top scorers.
Well, it's been a tough week without the result. Basically, it was Sunday League, and that's no disrespect to Sunday League. It was Sunday League defending. We were just woeful at the back, and you can't expect to win any games or even draw games after defensive performances like that. Now, Paul resigned. Didn't give us a lot of time to obviously to sort of get our thoughts together. But obviously we're going to now sit down and see what kind of applications come, and we'll go through that process and see where we go from here. All you can do for the fans is apologise to them, because if I was a fan, I'd be as disgusted as they are, probably with a 7-3 defeat. But at the end of the day, we have to just keep plodding on.
Forest Green seemed to be an unstoppable force before losing at Woking on Tuesday, ending their perfect start to the season. But they must have fancied their chances as they travelled to Macclesfield, who'd lost back-to-back matches. The league leaders' confidence was boosted when John Parkin, a former Macclesfield striker, put them ahead only 2 minutes into the game. The pace and skill of Keanu Marsh-Brown beat the home defence and set up the chance. Macclesfield responded with some good possession play, and eventually a Paul Lewis header tested the gloves of Johnny Maxted. But Maxted won't want to be reminded of what happened next. The goalkeeper made a complete hash of David Pipe's simple back pass, and the onrushing Christian Dennis was presented with an embarrassingly easy equaliser. It seemed the first half would end all square until Rob Sinclair punched George Pilkington's goal-bound header off the line. Referee Carl Evans had no choice but to issue a straight red card to the Rovers midfielder. Dennis made no mistake from the penalty spot for his 8th of the season. Macclesfield went 3-1 up when Lewis got the better of Maxted with a bullet header from Danny Whittaker's superb cross. Forest Green tried to find their way back into the game despite being a man down. Delano Sam York's shot wasn't far away. But any hopes the leaders had of a comeback was snuffed out 7 minutes from time when Whittaker wrapped up a much-needed 3 points for Macclesfield. It was the first time Forest Green had lost consecutive matches since December last year, and they now face a fight to stay at the summit of the league.
Forest Green's unexpected defeat left the door open for second place Gateshead to close the gap as they welcomed a Welling side who were in the bottom 4 without a win in 9. But after 24 minutes, it was the underdogs who took the lead. Xavier Vidal's cracking free kick hit the underside of the bar and went in off unfortunate Gateshead keeper Sam Russell. And the form book was well and truly overturned 5 minutes later when a poor Simon Ramsden clearance went straight to Vidal, who smashed home an absolute rocket from 25 yards. Russell did get a hand to it, and his palm is still stinging now. Gateshead had only lost 2 games this season and gave themselves a lifeline 9 minutes before half-time. Defender Nathan Buddle connecting with a Josh Gillies corner. And it was almost level before half-time. Ryan Bowman played in Jamie Chandler, but his shot wasn't good enough to beat on-loan keeper Tom King. In the second half, Gateshead were wasteful and lacked fluency in their play. This free kick by James Marwood came close to salvaging a point for Malcolm Crosby's team, but he hit the outside of the post. A superb win for Welling, who move out of the relegation zone, but Gateshead will rue a wasted chance to close the gap to top spot.
Woking, fresh from ruining Forest Green's 100% record in midweek, faced another big challenge at Kingfield against Cheltenham, who had a chance of their own to close the gap on top spot. It was the visitors who started more brightly, Danny Wright eventually latching onto a poor touch from Jack Barthram, but he could only shoot into the side netting. Wright had another chance to put the visitors ahead, but his header from close range brought a wonder save from Jake Cole. It might have been one-way traffic in the first half, but after the break, Woking came out searching for an opener. Dan Holman had this chance, but the ball was deflected over the bar. The scoresheet remained blank thanks to an impressive double save by Cole. First, he got down well to deny Amari Morgan-Smith, then recovered to bravely block Harry Powell's follow-up. At the other end, Woking's Jake Caprice fizzed his delivery across the goal mouth. No one could apply the finishing touch. The deadlock was finally broken, though, in the 67th minute. A corner for Cheltenham was fired in by Jack Munns, and Wright rose the highest to head home his 5th of the season. Cheltenham's promotion charge continues as they move up to second, 3 points behind Forest Green. Woking followed last Tuesday's high with their first home defeat of the season.
Away from home, the Braintree backline is the best in the National League, with Danny Cowley's side conceding just 3 goals on their travels all season. A daunting task then for Altrincham, but it was the attacking prowess of the visitors that was of more concern at Moss Lane. Braintree broke the deadlock after 9 minutes through Michael Cheek, the former Chelmsford City striker, with his 2nd goal for the club. And it got worse for Altrincham just before the break. Andy Parry pulling Cheek down inside the area. Captain Kenny Davis scored the winner from the spot at Kidderminster a fortnight ago. He doubled Braintree's lead. The hosts searched for an opening before half-time. Simon Richmond's shot was as good as it got for Altrincham. So 2-0 at half-time, and that's how it stayed until Braintree really turned on the style in stoppage time. First substitute Anthony Edgar from fully 35 yards. He's Jermaine Defoe's cousin, and the man himself would have been proud of that one. And he would also have been proud of this one too. Another substitute, Taylor Miles, curling this free kick into the top corner. Just one defeat in their last 9 games for Braintree.
Life in the National League hasn't been so easy for Eastleigh of late. Richard Hill's side reached the playoffs last season, but came into their trip to Chester without a win in 3. And things didn't start any better for the visitors in Cheshire. John Rooney's free kick powered into the net by defender Ben Hennigan. A great way for Hennigan to celebrate his 22nd birthday. The ball was in the Chester net soon after, but Eastleigh striker James Constable was certainly interfering with play and judged to be in an offside position. No goal. Eastleigh's top scorer was again in the thick of the action on the half hour. Constable heading over the crossbar from close range. The home side regained the initiative in the second half. Jordan Chappell chancing his arm and just missing out with this shot. Goalkeeper Lewis Noyce was called into action when a long throw caused confusion in the Eastleigh area. This effort from George Thompson tipped over the bar. Hill's men couldn't grab a foothold in the game. Ross Hanna with another chance to increase Chester's lead with this effort from 18 yards. Delight at the Diva Stadium as Chester record just their second win in 9 matches. Eastleigh are on their worst run ever in the National League.
You're watching BT Sports Vanarama National League highlights programme. Plenty more still to come. Grimsby Town and Tranmere Rovers, 2 teams desperate to regain their Football League status, had identical records going into their game at Blundell Park. Commentary from Adam Vogo and Steve Bauer.
It's a much better delivery that time. Oh, that came off the post. And then it's home from Pittman.
Scott Davis is absolutely furious, saying that he's being pinned. I don't think there's anything in that. He delays and delays and doesn't get anywhere near it. It's defended so poorly. You have to be aware, you have to be stronger as a goalkeeper. And it's a great start for Grimsby.
Sutton was trying to attack it. Bolton has plenty of time to steady himself again. Free header. And what a stop from McKeown to deny Jackson.
This is why I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Loads of time to get the cross in. It's a wonderful save.
Now Tranmere might be able to make something of this. It's towards Blissett, who got there first and has equalised. Nathan Blissett on as a substitute for just his second appearance on loan from Bristol Rovers with his first goal for Tranmere, and he's levelled it up.
The poor touch from Arnold. Now you watch him now, he just opens his legs out, he runs across Gowlin. What you want is a perfectly weighted ball, and he got that. It's a brilliant through ball, perfectly timed.
Maynard. This is Dawson, 3 in the penalty area for Tranmere. Dawson cutting inside, palmed away by McKeown. Almost came to Blissett, the flag was up anyway. Clay, round Harris, picked down Monkhouse, and the shot from Tomlinson was blocked.
Well, again, it's Matt Hill to the rescue again. This is just wonderful feet from Clay to skip around Jay Harris.
He's back with Galb. Tomlinson, oh, what a try from the debut boy. And it needed dealing with by Scott Davis.
He just gets that shot on goal. Great first touch there, really opens himself up. And when he's through on goal, he's just got one thing on his mind, and that's to try and hit the target.
To be fair to Gary's team, I thought they played well. looked a lot more comfortable. We looked nervous, which I think was a surprise to me. Most of the players have played in so-called big games and in front of the TV cameras, but right from the word go we just looked a bit edgy. It took us a long time to get anything like us passing going, and in the end when we did, you know, we showed that we can cause teams problems.
At the end of the day it was probably a fair result. I thought for 65 minutes I felt quite comfortable. I thought we deservedly got back into the game after going a goal behind, and then I thought for the last 25 minutes we just couldn't get out of our half, you know, but we'd made all our subs due to mainly injury. So there was nothing we could really do much to change it. It was just sort of weather the storm, and like I said, I think overall we deserved the point.
An intriguing match-up at Meadow Park. A Bournemouth side that had lost their last 4 matches, taking on Wrexham, who had lost just their second game of the campaign at Gateshead in midweek. The Wood looked to exploit any vulnerability in the visitors early on. Former Coventry keeper Cameron Bedford at his best to deny the hosts. And any Welsh nerves were calmed after just 12 minutes. Captain Connor Jennings with time and space in the box to head Gary Mills' team in front. Jennings' second of the season. This was Bournemouth's first ever meeting with Wrexham, and it was a game that could have been out of sight before half-time. Dominic Vos ghosting his way through before striking the upright. And Jennings was in the mood for more goals. Vos slipping the ball through to the skipper, who was denied by goalkeeper James Russell. Not once, but twice. The closest the home side came to restoring parity in the second half was this speculative effort from substitute Junior Murray. It's now no wins in 6 for Boreham Wood, and a first clean sheet on the road for Wrexham.
2 of the form teams in the National League clashed in Cumbria. Barrow unbeaten at home this season. Aldershot victorious in 3 of the last 4 games. It was the away team that came flying out of the traps. A bad moment for the Barrow keeper Joel Dixon, and a bad moment for Aldershot's Rhys Brown. But the deadlock was broken on 32 minutes. Charlie Walker's on fire right now, and Dixon couldn't stop his effort finding the back of the net. The hosts were given the chance to equalise 5 minutes before half-time. Andy Howarth's cross adjudged to have struck the arm of Jim Stevenson. Penalty given. You be the judge. It was a commentator's nightmare at Holker Street. In Aldershot's matchday squad, Charlie and Dan Walker. Up front for Barrow, Jason Walker. And he levelled the scores confidently from the spot. It was all Aldershot after the interval. First, Sam Hatton hit the post from this short corner routine. Then it was Walker on the score sheet again. Charlie Walker with his 6th goal of the season, his 5th in the last 4 games. And with a third of the match to go, the contest was settled in favour of Barry Smith's side. Dan Walker on the ball, this time finding right-back Shea Alexander, who sealed victory for the visitors. Aldershot have now found the net in their last 8 consecutive games, their best scoring run for 4.5 years.
This was another vital bottom-of-the-table battle for Halifax in their first game since the sacking of manager Neil Aspin on Thursday. He'd led them to 3 promotions in 6 seasons, but they'd won just 2 of their last 25 league matches. The biggest talking point of the game came in the 24th minute, as Mike Phoenix's 2-footed challenge on Connor Hughes left referee Simon Bennett with no option but to send off the Southport striker. But despite being down to 10 men, Southport went ahead 10 minutes before half-time, when a cross from Lewis Armand was diverted into his own net by defender Matty Brown. Halifax caretaker boss Gerald McClellan saw his side go 2 down in the 66th minute as a fantastic through ball from Andre Jones found Cole Stockton, who made the rest look easy. However, it wasn't long before Southport's fortunes changed. This challenge from Josh Thompson on Halifax's Julian Banton left referee Bennett in no doubt about pointing to the spot. Andy Coughlin guessed correctly, but still couldn't keep out Jordan Burrow's penalty. There have been some dramatic finishes at the Shea this season, and here was another one. With a minute left on the clock, Barrow got on the end of a Josh McDonald cross to grab the equaliser, his 8th goal of the campaign. So it could have been worse for McClelland, who was left to rue Phoenix's red card.
Mike's a hard-working player. He's done really well for his team. The tackle, I was a little bit surprised, if I'm being honest, because he's not that type of player. But it did obviously influence the game. But yeah, as I say, he's an honest player, and I don't think he went to hurt one of our players.
3 years ago, Kidderminster Harriers failed to win any of their opening 10 matches, but unbelievably they ended the season as runners-up. So maybe there was still hope for new coach Tim Flowers as the league's bottom club set out in search of their first win of this campaign. But it was the visitors who went ahead in the 22nd minute. Jack Muldoon setting up club captain Alan Power for his first goal of the season. Lincoln only needed another 5 minutes to double their lead. An ambitious header by Luke Waterfall cascaded out of keeper Alex Palmer's hands, and Muldoon took full advantage. Matt Reed, Lincoln's top scorer, wasted the chance to make it 3 after some great build-up play from Power and Terry Hawkridge. Kelvin Langmead came closest for Kidderminster. It's their worst start to a league season since 1983. Lincoln are up to 12th, having won 2 of their last 3 games.
Dover and Guiseley both came into this match in mid-table following solid starts to the season. Athletic boasted an unbeaten home record, and that never really looked under threat from Mark Bower's side. A comedy of errors in the Guiseley defence leading to this chance for striker Stephen Payne. Stephen Drench pouring cold water on Dover's hopes of breaking the deadlock. The visitors were under the cosh in the first 45 minutes. After a half-hearted penalty appeal, Dwayne Ofori Achimpong was denied. When the hosts did find a way past Drench, Sean Raggett struck the bar. The first ever league meeting between Dover and Guiseley, not one that will be fondly remembered.
Well, what a turnaround in the fortunes of Forest Green. This time last week, their 100% record was still intact and they were 8 points clear at the top of the table. But 2 defeats in 7 days have changed all that. Their lead is down to 3 points and they face second-placed Cheltenham at the New Lawn on Tuesday. Gateshead and Woking both lost at home but are still in touch, while Wrexham are just above them in 3rd. Welling have climbed out of the bottom 4 after their surprise win at Gateshead, with Boreham Wood taking their place. Managerless Halifax drew with fellow strugglers Southport, and with almost a quarter of the season gone, Kidderminster are still waiting for their first win. That's just about it for this week's National League Highlight Show, but don't forget to join us on Friday as we bring you Dover Athletic against Woking, exclusively live on BT Sport 1 from 7:15. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.